The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, this is Faith. Welcome to the Faith Washington Show. We will discuss life, business, leadership, family, and fun, and what happens when your view of the world expands. A wide variety of guests will provide insight on how they do business, family, and leadership in their lives. So now, here's today's show. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone, on the Faith Washington Show. We are live on Facebook, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app at WWNN. And I am really so blessed tonight to be joined by my wonderful friend and entrepreneur who just walked in the door, Frederico Santori.
Why do you call me that?
Because it's what it says on Facebook now.
Yes, because I changed my Facebook page. And
It's Freddie. It's Freddie Santori.
You know, I haven't sat on this show since I've met you.
Ever, that's right.
Ever. It's amazing.
Folks, I was so excited that Freddie said yes to come on the show.
You're out of your mind.
No, I'm not out of my mind. Because,
she's out of her mind.
No. Because here's the deal. Is that you're a major entrepreneur. Folks, this man has been an entrepreneur way longer than Gary Vaynerchuk has been doing what he's been doing. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know who Gary is. He was doing it before it was even swag to do it.
True.
So it's very cool. I want to hear about that. I want you to just kind of start from the very beginning, how you started. Brooklyn, New York, folks. Okay, that's why he's on the Brooklyn Cafe. He and Dawn do the Brooklyn Cafe, and he owns and operates AMP2 TV Productions, which is a very, very cool venue that I've been on many times, and they amp it out for my show and for multiple other clients that they have. A lot of clients. They have clients all day long, all day, all night. Yeah, it's a big deal. So please tell us about it, Freddie.
And first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show, because everybody's been texting me all day tonight.
I'm so pleased.
Are you going to be on the show? Like,
hi,
even Linda.
That's his girlfriend in there. She's in the studio.
Everybody's been saying that I'm going to be on the show. I mean,
baby.
I've done shows before, but I've never done this show. Never done this show. And it's funny because I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Of what you do. And again, this is the production side of me coming through, because it's amazing where you've come from and where you've been and what you do. And I've always said that Faith Washington, not only are you good at who you are, but you make everybody else around you better.
Thank you.
And that's what the platform is about.
Yeah.
You know, you come in here, you put together all sorts of clients, and your clients have been all over the country.
They're all over the world.
All over.
I've talked with people that are in Spain and New Zealand and Australia, and they're in these different countries and different states, and it's fun. For me, it's about that entrepreneurial spirit. It's about the grit, determination, and perseverance that it requires to do what you've been doing for years.
What we've been doing for years. It's funny, we did it before Facebook started. We did it before YouTube. We did it before everybody. And it's funny because my 14-year-old son at the time put this together. And Gio came about.
Yeah, his name is Gio.
And he's a gamer. He does gaming.
He's brilliant.
He really is.
Hi, Gio.
He really is. And he put together this gaming platform. And I said to him, what are you doing? He says, I'm streaming. I said, you're streaming? He says, yes. I said, what the hell is that? And he says to me, it allows you to show video on the air.
Right.
So I met with Bobby in the radio station. I met with a lot of people. I met with the NFL. I met with Major League Baseball.
Right.
All of them said nobody watches sports on your phone at the time.
Yeah, at that time, because that was a long time ago.
A long time, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that I said, why don't we bring it to radio and give people a chance who have something to say, have a business to say, and come forward. You're a prime example of that. You are the essence of the example, because you bring in so many other people who are looking for the right way of exposing their talents.
Yes.
And you do it on video, you do it on audio. There are podcast channels now available that we're gotten into. I spoke to a kid today who's going to be doing things in the cartoon, three-dimensional network stuff.
Oh, that's really fun. By the way, my friends Brian Newsom and his girlfriend Lauren are over in Sarasota, and they have actually done one of these video animations. I mean, Lauren's brilliant. They're both naturopathic doctors and super smart. Yes, and they own a company called Heelys Health, and we have a lot of supplements that the three of us work with together. And she created this really cool animation, and you look at it, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it's really easy to understand. It is a great platform to get your information out there. It's very different. It's not like this. It's not like you're seeing people. You're seeing an animated type of product, and it gets the message across.
It does, because animation is a nice way. Everything is about the branding.
It's fun.
And the delivery. And it's fun. And it's different. We were contracted to do something on the WWF where it was going to be a cartoon, three-dimensional cartoon. And when they go past the magic curtain and they go into the ring, they become wrestlers, regular wrestlers.
Right.
And we were contracted to do it. They didn't go through with it because they didn't think the public was ready for it.
Oh, they would have loved it.
They would have loved it.
They would have loved it. They would have loved it.
And it's funny because in my world, everything I've ever done, nobody's ever been ready for it.
You know something? That's the funny thing, is that I've noticed this about you since we've worked together. Probably been almost 2 years. Is that you're way ahead of the curve. That's something that I've always been with my information and knowledge, health, wellness, business, things like that. Always way ahead of the curve. And you're right. Sometimes people aren't ready to hear what you have to say.
That's right.
They're like,
deny.
Facebook Live and radio at the same time and Periscope. Really? And iHeartRadio app all across the nation. Really?
There's no way not to hear
This is a giant platform, and that's the reason that I ask entrepreneurs to come on.
Right.
Because the exposure that they get is much bigger than they think. They're not even really, I send them a form letter and let them know, okay, this is where you'll be exposed. It's about 3.1 million people in South Florida, but that doesn't account for all the people across the nation in whatever, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, LA, Houston. They don't, and Miami, they don't really take that in, but it is a big platform.
It is, and it gives you the availability to show different aspects of it. Now, this is streaming. Streaming is live.
Right.
So if the microphone falls out of the sky, if something doesn't work, that's all part of the deal.
We're screwed sometimes. If the cameras don't work and the mic doesn't work.
As long as Ken has his finger on the board.
Ken, buddy, where are you?
So he can turn off. So if you say a
Ken's
bad
great.
word,
You guys got it.
It gets done.
Ken's awesome.
But the object of the game is that you want to do as much as you can. Now, talking about health, right?
Yes.
That's
something
in a few
you
months.
need. Yeah, you need to talk about that.
A year and a few months ago, I had a situation where I was put into intensive care, and I was in there for 7 days.
That was very scary, Freddie. Dawn is his partner. We were extremely worried about you.
Well, I got worried when Dawn came to visit me, and her and Linda were in the corner crying. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And then my son shows up. Gio never goes to a hospital, never. So I'm saying to myself, okay, what's happening here? Yeah. And they were saying, you have some issues. You may not be leaving. I said, I may not be leaving.
I'm going to be leaving, all right.
I'm leaving.
You don't know Freddie.
And then they put me up to the 5th floor because I had to spend a few days up there, 4 or 5 days up there. And it was the cancer ward.
And you're like, oh, crap.
So Linda comes in crying and tells me, you're in the cancer ward. So I said, I'm in the what? I'm in the cancer ward. So I went from dying downstairs in intensive care to put on the cancer ward unit. And, in those 7 days, I decided that I wanted to break the platform and I want to make it bigger.
Right.
So we have new things that are going to be offered to hosts like Faith and some of the others.
I'm excited.
we are going to start doing the podcast piece so that millennials can listen.
Right, I agree.
We are working on platforms to do animation. We are going to open up the gamut so that you can do seminars. I think that Faith Washington should be speaking in front of people because you are one of the brightest women I've ever met.
Thank you, Freddie.
In the medical field.
Thank you.
You actually gave us some medicine that people with different illnesses like diverticulitis and things of that nature, the intestinal walls, it's a science. Health is a science. If you get hip to the idea that you can be healthier, I mean, I shedded 50 pounds.
You've done, that's what I wanted to talk about, is that amazing transformation for you has been a delight for me to see. And there have been many people connected to that. You know, I'm
lots of people.
I'm not the.
You're one of the people.
I'm one of the people, but there have been so many people that have helped you along the way and given you the courage to step into who you really are.
Exactly. Well, 60 pounds will do that for you.
60 pounds, baby.
Sugar,
okay?
my sugar
Seriously.
was 269 at one time. It's down
That'll kill you.
It was down to 118.
It's beautiful.
My neuropathy is down by 70% because
70.
of
Okay.
Leslie. Carmen.
So we need to just quickly, briefly, kind of go over that. Neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy happens when you're diabetic.
Correct.
Okay. So peripheral neuropathy is where you feel pins and needles, or you don't have a lot of sensation in the extremities because blood flow, the change in your vascularity, many different things occur that cause those neuronal endings not to fire properly. And
Correct.
so when you did some of the modalities that you did, like Leslie Carmen at Advanced Therapeutics, Carmen Care, Advanced Care Therapeutics, she lasered you multiple times.
She has for the last 13 weeks.
And has brought back the sensation that was lost because of being diabetic and not being able to control it.
That's correct.
But I want to let you folks know that Leslie Carmen at Carmen Care Advanced Therapy is an amazing individual. She cares more about people and your healing than you would ever imagine. She's one of those people that we have partnered with.
Yes.
To actually, she's been on my show before, and we're actually doing some business things together to amplify and expand the business that she's doing because we want people to heal.
That's
You
right.
know what? Allopathic medicine has a place. Allopathic medicine is your normal doctor going to an emergency room, going to an MD now or a critical care place. It's a beautiful thing. However, for long-term care and for things that are more complicated, there are other people in the medical field that are doing things that are far above and beyond what you folks know. And those are the things that we're delving into to bring to you. And those are some of the guests that I have on.
Yes,
and
you
that
do.
you and Dawn have on the Brooklyn Cafe from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday, that actually give us information that you would be able to use to help with whatever kind of illness or disease state and dis-ease. Simply your body is not taking itself back to a homeostatic position. And that's something you can speak to beautifully, Freddie, because you were in the hospital, you were really sick, we thought you were going to head out the door, but you didn't.
I didn't yet. Yeah, I'm still here.
You got a long way to go, man. We got a lot to do.
Well, I tell you,
We got a lot of work.
it's scary because you don't listen to the signs your body gives you. You know, you walk like a diabetic, his stomach, the gut that happens in your stomach. Very dangerous situation.
Very.
People think that it doesn't look good, it's unhealthy. It has nothing to do with that. It is a sign. It is your body telling you got a problem.
Help me.
Yeah, you got to help your body help heal itself. Getting up in the morning and not being able to close your hands is a very difficult thing.
That's
not being able to
scary.
think because your
Clearly,
mind
'cause you're
is not
foggy.
clear. That's right.
Yeah.
And
That happens with thyroid too.
That's right.
I have thyroid issues. I mean, I've told the audience that before. I've had thyroid issues for 14 years.
And men and female, male and female have the same disease, but it attacks the body differently. Men are attacked differently than females. So if you're a diabetic, just because you're a diabetic doesn't mean you're going to treat it the same way. You have to sort of treat it differently. You have to get in tune with your body. You got to listen. Water intake.
Huge. Yep.
Water intake.
We know that.
Holy smoke. You know what? I suggest you buy a Bubba keg. 64 ounces of water.
Yep.
And have one
Gallon
of
a
those
day.
bad boys at least a day.
A gallon a day. I do 4 liters every single day without fail.
Have to, because that is the essence of making your whole body go. Now, if you're a diabetic and they tell you, oh, you got to exercise and all, yes, start with the water, do the exercise, take your medication correctly, lose the weight.
Absolutely. But that's part and parcel of actually paying attention then to your physical being.
That's right.
So, it's emotional, spiritual, physical. And everything comes through the emotional and the spiritual. So spiritual, then it comes through your emotional body, and then it outpictures and manifests into your physical body. And you can ward all that off by paying attention to what your body's telling you.
Well, I heard a rumor that you're a health coach. Are you a health coach?
Oh my gosh, I did that years ago.
You don't do any more coaching?
I don't have time for that because I do very high level, high flame coaching, which is more working with the mindset of people who are leading so that I can create more influence.
Okay.
Could I do health coaching? Yeah, I could do that in my sleep. But it's not something that I really spend a lot of time on now. It's not kind of cost effective in where I'm at right now.
So you're pushing the businesses to help
to help more people who are in influential positions so that they can push these things down to the people that they influence. And that's really kind of my place and my role. And also helping entrepreneurs obtain funds to grow their business or to keep and sustain their businesses, which is really about the mergers and acquisitions, so selling companies and doing the investor collaboration with businesses so that those folks who need monies will be able to obtain them. And
especially this time of the year?
Any time of year. It doesn't make any difference.
The summer doesn't have any bearing?
No, summer has no bearing
really?
on it. No, it has no bearing. Zero. The gentlemen and women that I'm working with are very high-powered individuals, well-connected. Really don't want to mention their names without their approval, but they do a great job of really, really digging in and helping the entrepreneur. It's like they get it because they're also entrepreneurs. They've also started their businesses as venture capitalists, angel funders, regular investors in different types of institutions, whether it's a bank or some other venue. But amazing human beings. I'm very blessed to be linked with people of integrity.
So let me flip this on you. Yeah. What are you going to be doing for the rest of the year that's a little bit different than you've done in the past?
You know something, Freddie? I'm not real sure at this point. I mean, this is enough of a difference because I'm having to learn a whole new series of ways to operate and, kind of bring my knowledge of business into this arena of the investment entrepreneur partnership, and it's a great blend because I find it's pretty seamless. I can work with either party very well, sit in front of one, sit in front of the other. It's not a big deal. But I don't know all the jargon yet. It's kind of new for me, but I love it. It's just so much fun. It's so great when you see that entrepreneur get what they're in need of as far as funding, and then they're freaking happy. They are like happy and excited and ready to go.
Do people listen? Are people listening?
Do they listen? They listen very well.
Do they listen?
Matter of fact,
are they taking the advice and going in that direction?
Oh, yes.
I've noticed that things have changed since I started in the business, where all of a sudden there isn't any such thing as a bad idea.
Agreed.
I heard today that Facebook is going to now offer movies.
I think that's a great idea.
I think it's long overdue.
It's nothing more than another venue and platform for people to express themselves. And I think that expression, as you know, like on the Brooklyn Cafe, the Faith Washington show, when people are able to express themselves and really be open, vulnerable, and just be themselves, that honesty and integrity that you bring draws people in. I always say, you know what? My vibe is my tribe. This is my tribe right here. Freddie and Dawn are people that I vibe with, and they're my friends. You can have friends, you can have acquaintances. Acquaintances are people that you just know. They're people that don't really have your back. But friends are a different story. Friends are people that you know that are family. And there's a big difference there.
There is a big difference.
There is. And I think if you're going to make movies, you're making movies so that you're going to move people. Movement. Movement is emotion. Emotion is movement. When you get up and move, this is kind of like the NLP, NAC kind of stuff that Tony Robbins and many other motivational speakers talk about, is that if you move your body and get excited, you change your emotional state. And it's very easy to do. When people tell me they're depressed, I get it. You may have a lot of things on your mind and you're thinking about stuff. However, you have a choice. You can choose to move into a different position. I don't care what you say. If somebody's coming to your house that you are kind of impressed with or you think something of, do you think you're going to answer the door and you're like, what the, you got some sort of attitude? Probably not. You're probably going to be like, hi, how are you today? So glad you came. Welcome, come in. Really? Well, if you can do that crap for someone else, you can do it for you. It's just that easy.
That's right. Put yourself first.
Thank you. When you care about you, then you're always caring about other people too. Just by virtue of the fact that, you know what? If you come first, then you'll always treat other people well.
Well, it's an old saying, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else?
You're not going to.
It's true.
Truly not going to.
Very true.
Truly not able to do that. And I think that that's a kind of a buzzword. Love yourself, but maybe we don't so much know how to do that. And maybe you don't really need to know how. Maybe you just need to think about, you know something? I like me, and if I treat me well, then I will train other people that are in my circumference, my circle. I will train them to treat me well also.
What about business owners that just don't get it? How does that transfer into the business? I mean, how are you going to make a business successful if you just don't know who you are?
You can't.
There's
no clarity. There's no clarity. That's the deal. Like I spoke with Mary Wong this week, and we had a really, really nice interview on the Hive. And that's really one of my things is you've got to be clear. You've got to be clear on what you want, what you're driving for, and what your goals and the realization of those goals and how you're going to celebrate those goals. That's when I do business consultation, when I do coaching, same thing. Are you clear? If you're not clear, let's get clear. If you don't have a niche, let's find a niche. And that's okay if you don't have one, but it's something that's workable. Everything is workable. Listen, in the field of infinite possibility in quantum theory, okay, there's the wave and there's the particle. The particle is right here, right now, you see it. And then there's the wave. Wow, you don't see that, but it's there and it exists and you can't deny it. So you focus on the wave and not the particle. And then you will see that you create your world. And you can create it great, or you can create it some other way. You get to choose.
Interesting. Let me ask you, what do you do when you run into a business owner who you see there's a problem, and you see that they're not going to listen to anything you have to say, but they want to work with you to improve their business? What do you do?
Just learn to ask them different kinds of questions. You have to bypass the ego and the subconscious. So instead of seeing things as a problem, you rather teach them that there really isn't a problem, that they're just looking at things from a perspective that isn't allowing them to see the bigger picture. which is usually the case. So they're looking at the minutia. In other words, they're working in their business instead of on their business. If you want to up level, you've got to change your perspective. Like instead of looking like this, you've got to look from up here and choose, okay, well, what is it that I'm really looking to do?
It's interesting because when I was told that there was nowhere to go with streaming, I mean, streaming now, everybody knows about it, right? Because you can do it on your phone, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in your bathroom.
But they're only getting a limited audience.
That's true, too. But even back then, people were telling me that there was no way in the world that this was going to work, right? So you had to sort of put your head down and say, well, if it doesn't work,
doesn't matter.
Then we have to find another way to make it work.
You'll find another way. And that's what you did. That's the grit, determination, and perseverance that I talk about with the entrepreneurs that are on the show. Being an entrepreneur requires that grit, determination, and perseverance. And if you will put your head down, do the, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, the dirt and clouds. You know, you keep your dreams alive, but you work like a dog. That's the way it is.
That's right. Don't.
It's a beautiful thing.
Don't let people stop your dreams. You just have to make it work.
And let the game come to you. Those are his words. He always says, let the game come to you. I'm like, yeah, Freddie. It is. Thanks so much, folks. Thank you, Freddie, so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure to have you on.
No
and
problem.
We are live on Facebook at The Faith Washington Show, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app, WWNN. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week, Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a great night, folks, and a great week. Bye-bye. Yeah. You've been listening and watching The Faith Washington Show, where we have widened your view of the world. Our guests share their business, family, and fun life hacks to make your world better. Hope you've learned something to apply to your life and business.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management,